Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Palworld, and in this video I am going to show you how to get 10 beginner tips that are going to save you a ton of time and give you a whole bunch of advantages inside of Palworld. Some of these will be even, some of you it might be something you never even realized. So anyways, hopefully this is something helpful for you. Let's get started. Now, one of the most useful things in the game that you don't realize is important is the ability to use the R command. Now, the R command, when you are inside of any inventory in the entire game, is going to place anything from your inventory into whatever you're looking at's inventory. So if I was to grab all of the stone from this resource, right, for example, now what I can do is I can go ahead, I don't know why that's working like that, but it is what it is. I can actually go ahead and take this and drop all of the stuff that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a box. Now, notice how there's stone inside of this and I have stone in my inventory. I do not need to click and drag over. If I just hit R while I'm in my inventory, anything that can be placed from my inventory will be placed into whatever I'm looking at. That is obviously very useful and it works both directions. So you want to make sure that you use that command, especially if you're back at base and you just want to like go through your stuff real quick and then hit R on a bunch of things and sort out all of your stuff. So the R command will transfer everything that is possible to transfer that already exists into something, so it helps out a ton. Now, the next thing, tip number 2, that's going to help you out a ton. Whenever you're at base, you should always deploy one of your pals that is very good at doing something, because it basically serves as a free extra thing to get done. For example, if I deploy a Digtoise, anytime he has an ability to see something, he's going to walk up to that and go ahead and dig it out. You can see him do it right now. He'll go ahead and find the nearest stone and then work on that. Or if there's something that he can actually work on, he will go ahead and work on it. So that is a huge advantage. You can do anything specifically that you're looking for. Let's say you want to throw out something like this guy instead, right? I don't want a Digtoise. I want my Caprity. This guy will automatically start working on what it's capable of. And you can see it drops red berries from its back when it's assigned to a ranch. Pretty cool. So it'll go over to the ranch if it has the ability to do so. Now, that is a huge tip. It's just a free bonus creature that you can use, and it'll just automatically do all these things around the base as long as you're there. So definitely take that as a very useful thing. Now, you can see he's just going to go ahead and work on that. Now, next on our list, this is probably the most useful thing that you can learn. You need to constantly make spheres. Now, no matter what it is, at some point in the game, you are going to run out. And if you haven't done so already, you always want to have a bunch available inside of your base. You can come back and quickly hit F in order to grab any of the spheres that are available. Now, the reason that this is so important is because you level in this game simply by, I don't know what's going on up there. That's kind of crazy. Cool. But when in this game, you actually level by catching things. And it's the best way to level up in the entire game. I've literally played less than a day on this one and I'm level 28. So the best thing that you can do is have a whole bunch of spheres ready to go, constantly working. The reason being is you will eventually run out, and then when you run out, you're not able to level or catch new things, and catching new things is very important. So definitely constantly be making those. Now, that kind of brings us into our next point. When you are actually capturing things in this game, if you go into your PAL deck, it's not even close in particular, by the way, you get about 10%-ish of your level each time you capture a new creature. Now, you can capture up to 10 of each individual creature. So you'll see that if I have something like this, let's see, something I know I probably have 10 of is this guy. So I have 10 of these Cremis, and because of that, every time I catch one, I won't get bonus experience. However, if I have a creature that I do not have 10 of, you actually get a bunch of bonus for catching 10 total of each of those. You can still catch more than 10, but once you get above 10, you're not going to get your bonus experience. So try and catch as many as you can up to 10. And then after that 10, don't worry too much about that creature, because you're probably going to find something better late game. Now, what I mean by that is these creatures, typically the lower their number, the less useful they are. And the higher their number, the more specific abilities they have. And that's a very useful thing. So definitely check that out. Now, the next thing that I want to bring up to you is people kind of freak out when it comes to base upgrades. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I don't want to build that right now. What you need to constantly be doing is upgrading your base level. Now, the base level is one of the most important stats or things in the entire game. And that's because every time you increase your base level, you're either going to, one, increase the total number of bases you have, or 2, increase the max pals that you can have working at your base. Each level is going to bring it up 1. The reason you want more pals working at your base is the more pals you have, the more stuff you get. The more stuff you get, the quicker that you progress. The quicker you progress, the more fun you have in the game. Because you don't want to sit out there and harvest a whole bunch of stone. You want to find a bunch of dig toys to actually be able to dig for you, so I can gather thousands and thousands of stone an hour. Or I want to be able to have wood gathered by this guy right here. Or I want to be able to have paldium gathered by this. So my point behind that entire statement is that you want to have as many creatures out as possible. So being able to level up your base allows you to actually kind of get into that. Now, while I'm saying that, right, I'm doing something as well. I want to be able to use this guy. And if you hit F, this is a bonus tip, by the way, you can actually tell your creatures to do specific jobs. And that's a very useful thing, because you can hit F and then throw them somewhere, giving them a specific job. So that's like a little bonus tip for you. Now, next on our list, this is a very, very important one. When you have eggs and you're finding them in the wild, though it is really cool to find a normal common egg, you will occasionally find more rare eggs. See that one? That's a large egg. So what that means is that basically you have a increased level dino, and it's even possible to get even higher, by the way, to get boss dinos outside of these large eggs. Now, you want to get the best dinos that you're the best eggs you can find. Typically, the heavier they are, the better they are. But they're random spawn chances, so the more you can have, the better off you are. I don't know why these raiders are going to be so rude and decide to attack me when I'm not paying attention, but, you know, it is what it is. That kind of brings us into a little bonus point as well. This is a very valuable thing to be able to defend against the raiders, because they bring you free loot. Now, that free loot can be anything from small pal souls, coarse ammo, all kinds of stupid valuable things that you don't realize you need until you've already needed it. So definitely enjoy these raids. I know some people freak out and they turn them off on their players. Don't do that, because they bring you some valuable stuff. Now, next up on our list is you want to focus on tames inside of this game, or pals with more than one ability. Though it can be nice to have one pal with one very specific job, it's important to focus on pals that have a whole bunch of different capabilities. Now, what does that mean, right? So you'll notice I have a full box full of stuff. In my pal deck, I have all these suitabilities. I want to be able to assign things to more than just one job. Now, if I have a dig toys just mining, that's not a big deal. But if I have a Lovander, this guy can do 4 different things at level 2, which is obviously incredibly useful. And yeah, so your tames are mostly going to take care of these guys, by the way. Like, you don't really even need to worry about it. So just keep that aware. But you want to be able to have things that can do multiple jobs, because when things can do multiple jobs for you, you're going to save yourself a ton of time searching for tames that do that. Now, anything from being able to water, being able to plant, there are creatures that will be able to plant, grow, and water. It's just kind of like you find them down the road. So try and use creatures that have more than one ability. Some of the easy early ones that you can get access to are lift monks and tansies, because they have 5 different things that they can do. They are very, very useful early game, because they'll kind of just go around your base doing all the things that you need them to do. So very, very useful to have that. Now, next thing on our list, do not worry about crafting everything. Some people are freaking out because they need to craft every single item before they move on to the next phase. This is a game where you should only craft the things that you want to craft. Now, what do I say when I mean that? Basically, the old bow, yes, it's a cool thing and you learn it at level 3, right? However, literally 2 later, you learn fire bow. 2 after that, you learn poison bow. 2 after that, you learn 3-shot bow. 2 after that, you learn the next weapon, and crossbow. So what you want to do is you want to focus on the things that matter. You probably aren't, because you're going to level so quickly early, you're probably not even going to need to use the old bow. You can simply use a spear to kill most things early, and then you want to save up for the 3-shot bow. 3-shot bow is going to be a lot more effective when taming things, and then you're going to be able to move into the crossbow, and then so on and so forth. So the point of this game isn't to keep your early game low level stuff around. The point of it is to kind of progress as you go. So don't get attached to having a stone pickaxe or a stone axe or a wooden club, or using those items, because towards level 20-ish, you're going to start getting into the muskets and guns, and creatures are going to do your stuff for you. And it's going to be a lot easier and more effective. So don't worry about crafting or unlocking every little thing, because they aren't all useful. Some things are just there for prettiness, and some things won't be useful for you. Bear traps, not super useful. Sometimes they can be, but not really. So keep that in mind. Now, The next thing, I kind of introduced it earlier. Number 9 on our list. Well, I guess at this point it's like 15, but still. The PAL deck is one of the most useful things that you don't realize in the entire game. Now, you can see that, for example, dig choices have a specific habitat, and if you were to zoom in on your map, you'll notice where those habitats are. Lowvanders don't seem to be active at this time of day. Dinosaurs can be found in these areas, and then you can look at the specific stats where you can find these creatures, which is obviously really useful if you're trying to actually tame them. Now, habitats, I know where they are. Stats, I know what they give me. So use this guy and it'll tell you what you need to unlock as well. If you are missing some of the things that are lower in the numbers, you probably have missed a few things in the basic areas. So definitely go work on that. Or maybe you're missing a boss like the Pen King. Definitely an early game boss that you can take out by yourself. So all of these can be caught and they will give you sweet bonuses as you go through. But definitely keep an eye on it because there's 111 things and I know they're going to add more as this game kind of advances and moves around. So definitely use your PAL deck. It's very useful. Now, the last thing, right? And this is your upgrade points into stats. In your personal inventory, there are only a few stats you really want to focus on. Now, those stats you want to focus on are HP, weight, and work speed. Now, the reason I say that, right, is because I'm going to raise this up so you can see what I mean by that. If you're hungry, you lose stats. If you're not hungry, you gain stats. But these 3 stats specifically, work speed, weight, and HP, will actually increase the most. When you level up stamina, it only goes up 10 points. When you level up attack, 2%. When you level up the work speed overall, it goes up 50 points per level. So you're basically just by doing one, making it 50% faster than you were originally. Weight goes up about 100 points, and then HP goes up about, give or take, 50 to 100 points. It kind of changes. Now, these 3 are the most valuable statistics because you can tank with HP, you can carry a ton of stuff with weight, and the number of times you find yourself working on one specific item is very important. So have a little extra work speed will save you a ton of time. So those 3 stats are the one you want to focus on inside of Palworld. Now, there's a ton of other things that you can do, but those are a bunch of early game tips that are going to save you a ton of time and hopefully help you out. If you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for that algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, teach.